Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Back at Bolesworth Castle today for Hampson Auctions. I always enjoy coming here. A great selection of cars and a great setting with the castle in the background. An unexpected pleasure to have to wear my sunglasses as well because it's been a horrible journey coming up here. So as you can see in the marquee behind me, there's a lot of cars there. And of course in this arena outside, perhaps the slightly less good condition and cheaper end of the cars. So I'm going to look around quite a few. There's a couple I'm interested in today. In fact, we just walked past one of the Scoobies I might be interested in, and a couple of XKRs. I expect they'll sell quite well because this auction seems to do pretty well for that era X150 Jag XKs. Anyway, I'm going to look around, show you around some of the cars. So I thought I'd start with this Jaguar XKR. It's an X150, obviously. I think it's a late entry because there's not much information on it other than saying it's about 85,000 miles. These came with the 5-litre supercharged AJ-V8. 6-speed ZF gearbox, auto gearbox, and that's significantly better than the X100 platform with the 4.2 and about 500 horsepower, and yet still really refined. This one looks in pretty good condition, as I say. Can't see anything much wrong with it from the outside. Nice light interior as well. There's definitely some wear on that driver's bolster there. And a bit dirty, as you might expect. 85,000 miles and a 15-year-old car on light leather. But overall, that interior looks very good. I think these have aged reasonably well. And apparently a comprehensive service history, which I'm going to check out because this is no reserve, so I might be interested in this. Could be a bargain. And it's next to an almost identical car, obviously a different colour and a year younger, but another XKR coupe. So same 500 horsepower and 5-litre supercharged AJ-V8. Also has the same interior in this one. Again, this looks excellent. This is lower mileage. 45-ish thousand miles. Slight marks down that door and a bit of a scratch. It's got the same leather, but as you can see, a lighter interior. This leather, lovely actually, really good looking car. There's again some wear on that bolster and a bit of dirt, but nothing too bad for a 15-year-old car. And again, no reserve, so really interesting to see what these go for. Potentially interested in these, but these X150 era Jag XKs, and indeed the X100s, do seem to sell very well here, so I expect these might well fetch good prices. Both the alloys on these, by the way, are excellent. Some corrosion on those centre caps, but nothing to worry about. So here's a beautiful looking Lotus EXIGE Sport 350. I reckon these are some of the best value performance cars you can get. This is 2017, it's only got 12,000 miles or so on the clock. Amazed how little use some of these get. And it's got this carbon pack from factory, I believe. Huge, great carbon diffuser, look at that. It may divide opinion, I suspect, and carbon on this rear wing, all carbon. Impressive looking car, quite imposing. The red paintwork is actually not so good. Quite a lot of swirl and scratch marks. I think that will all come out. I think it's just been vigorously washed, let's call it. So I think these represent excellent value. These were the V6 Toyota supercharged engine, of course, 3.5-litre V6. And these gave 350 horsepower. I can't remember, 0 to 60 time, was it 3.5, 3.9? Fairly rapid car. And this was actually the only car that I really considered when I was getting my Noble. For me, it would need the Comatech packs. So Comatech tuners on these do a variety of packs. 460, I think they may even have a 490 horsepower pack now. This is guided at 30 to 35,000 pounds. I reckon that's excellent value. It's hard to think of a more fun and better performing car for that kind of money. It's a Bit of car park ding down this door here. And actually the scuffing on that sill isn't too bad. You kind of expect it because these are so difficult to get in and out of. But I think the main thing that would detract for many, and certainly me, it wouldn't be an option. If I get a car like this, I want a manual gearbox. So I think that auto will detract. Even so, incredibly good value car, I think. So here's one of my favourite cars for the auction, Aston Martin Vanquish, 2013, and about 48,000 miles. So this replaced the DBS as the top of the range GT car for Aston. Loads of carbon on this all over it, and it looks in excellent condition. 20-inch rims. You can see carbon here, carbon sills, apparently fastidiously maintained. Carbon mirrors. It's got Aston's famous 5.9 litre V12, of course. It looks okay. Slightly difficult to tell in this light. Swirls and condensation because it's been cold in here. But stunning looking car. And I think pretty good value for money, relatively speaking now. 40 to 45,000 pound guide price on this. And I think these pushed out about 565 horsepower from memory out of this V12. Yeah, wonderful car, timeless styling. You know, in my mind, this doesn't look like a 2013 car. It looks excellent. Beautiful seats. A little bit of wear there, but generally an excellent condition car. And this has got the quite rare 177 steering wheel. So here's a car I'm potentially very interested in, Subaru Impreza STI. It's a JDM, so a Japanese domestic market car that's come 2003, that's come to the UK three years ago-ish, 2022. It's in good condition. There are various bits of paint defect, but you know, it's a 22-year-old car. You know, on the mirror, for example, down the door, and just all over very small imperfections. But this is only about 50,000 miles. Overall, it looks really excellent condition. I can't really see any marks on those wheels. Of course, this has the famous EJ20 twin scroll turbo. Gentleman's agreement of 276 horsepower at the time from these Japanese cars. And paint's not great on this rear bumper, but generally looks in really excellent condition. And you can tell it's perhaps not always cleaned or stored the best. Certainly an outdoor car, not that that matters. And a few more paint defects here. Bit of a ding and a scrape. It's not quite as good as I thought it might be from the pictures. I'm not saying it's bad, but it looked pretty much perfect from the pictures. But the fact that this is a Japanese car means it doesn't have the usual rust under these that you get with these. I've had a good look around, and yeah, I mean, there's some superficial rust, but really nothing. And the interior is really very good. There are some marks on that door card, but they're minor. And inside is very good. It does have a bit of wear on this seat here, just inside. You might be able to see that, but these cars do wear quite badly actually on those seats. And so this one is really pretty good. Yeah, generally looks very good. 6-speed manual, and as I was saying, gentleman's agreement was that these were 276 horsepower, generally thought to be a bit nearer 300. And these JDM ones, I don't think the UK versions had the intercooler spray. And these EJ20s, great twin scroll engine, revving to 8,000 RPM. And these JDM STIs, I believe, did have a slightly different engine in some respects. But it's a mind-boggling number of different versions of these, and I have to say I'm not a Subaru Impreza expert. But as a no-reserve car, this is very tempting. And why I think it could be a bargain, of course, is because these so-called bug eyes, this design, probably the least popular Scooby. One I said I would never get myself, but I can't resist a bargain. So if it goes cheap and no one likes the bug eye, and it's a wagon, I always like the wagons, I will definitely bid on this. 1971 Mark 1 Escort Mexico here. So obviously the Mexico built to celebrate Ford winning the London to Mexico rally for the 1970 Mexico Football World Cup. And these had the Kent engine in them. It was effectively a homologation. And this one's in kind of average condition, I guess. Overall looks very good. There's some areas that could do with a little bit of work. Bit of rust coming through there. Nothing too serious on the face of it. I like the rally lights. There's some damage at the front and fairly significant there. Definitely quite untidy at least, and here on that arch as well. Which explains why this is guided at only 18 to 22,000 pounds. Had a ton of works done to it, lots spent on it. It's got a rebuilt Type 9 gearbox. These were a 1600 Kent engine. And more damage along here, unfortunately. I think this might struggle to get even that bottom end. I saw quite a good Mexico sell at the Iconic auction for what was that, low to mid-20s. And unfortunately this one is not as good. Oh yeah, and it unfortunately gets a little bit worse. We can see some significant rust on that sill there. Looks pretty good inside though, other than that. But yeah, I see this struggling. So for someone of my age, these cars are legendary. 1991 Nova SR, and this one is incredible. It's only done 2,000 miles, largely unused for about 6 years from 2019, since apparently been recommissioned. I thought there was some rust, but it's just the lighting. What an opportunity to get this 2,000 miles, incredible. I mean, I doubt there are any more like this. Legendary car though, 1.4 engine, and of course these were so light. I don't know what these weighed, but I can't believe it was any more than about 800 kilograms max, probably nearer 700. And so, you know, teenagers back in the day, this is what people ragged around in. So, awesome car, quite a reputation for being used and abused in the UK. It looks excellent in here, as you'd expect from a 2,000 mile car. Classic 90s trim. I'm not sure if this signifies an issue down here. Possibly. I can quite see it making that kind of price range, 17 to 20,000 pounds though, because you just won't find another at that mileage. And next to a very opposite car, a no reserve Audi RS7, so 4-litre twin turbo V8 in these. Only 40-odd thousand miles, could be a good value car that, I reckon. So we've got two BMW E36 M3s here, both Estoril blue, although the blues do look slightly different actually. The one on the right as you're looking at it is an Evolution, so the 3.2, 6-speed manual gearbox. That one is a convertible with a factory hardtop. And the one on the left here is an original M3, so not an Evolution, so the 3-litre that preceded the Evolution with a 5-speed gearbox. This one is very high mileage at 185,000 miles. Just trying to read the sign, sorry. Looks in really good condition, by all accounts very well cared for, excellent maintenance history. It does look very nice. But 18 to 22,000 pounds seems a lot of money to me for one that's such high mileage. It is very good condition in here. I mean, you have to remember the age of this car, 1995, this one, and also, of course, 185,000 miles. You know, if you consider that, the condition looks really pretty good. The only real bad wear is on the leather on that gear knob, but yeah, I just struggle to see it making that much money, if I'm honest. Particularly when it's next to an Evolution as well, which is lower mileage, 90-odd thousand miles. looks in equally as good condition, though I haven't checked the service history, admittedly. But you know, there's some wear in here, but again, overall looks very good. And guided only 15 to 18,000 pounds. So I've only had a quick look at these. Perhaps I'm missing something obvious, but I can't quite see why the 3 litre is so much more, given it's, you know, twice the mileage of this one, and you know, which also looks pretty good as well. So this, I think, could be one of the best value cars in terms of the performance for the money that you get that's in this auction. Well, anywhere, to be honest. It seems like great value for 500 horsepower. And it's although it says 427 on the side here, it's actually a 351 cubic inch Windsor V8 engine. Bought new, it's a crated engine from the US at almost $15,000. Hard to tell, the paintwork looks kind of average. It's a bit hard to tell in here. But I think, yeah, generally pretty good. There's some kind of crazing in places, but nothing bad. And for 20 to 25 grand, I mean, wow, it's probably hard to think of a car you could have more fun in. I think the interior is fairly average. Bits of trim, some bits of trim don't look so good. You know, the wood on that passenger door, for example, just a little bit tatty and well worn. But you know, this isn't a fairly old car. First registered in 1992. You know, this was newer, it'd obviously be a lot more. So, bang for buck, what a buy. So Porsche 928 GT here. This one is a 1991 car, very high mileage, 181 or 85,000 pounds, miles even. And it looks in a bit tatty condition, I'm afraid to say, particularly these wheels, which are, if I'm honest, just really very poor. Lots of corrosion on that one. And then all down here you can see, not looking too great. Looks like someone's, I guess, tried to seal that, and yeah, just not very good. Lots of flaking paint. And then, you know, this wheel is really pretty bad. But it's a no reserve car. It looks like it possibly hasn't been used too much recently. You can never argue with a no reserve car though, can you? This window rubber though is very perished. I've seen this quite a lot in this era Porsche. But the GT came with the 5 litre engine, 5-speed manual gearbox. It also had a limited slip diff as standard, I believe. That's a cracked headlight. Okay, there. So yeah, a bit of a, maybe a sorry state, dare I say, this car. But these were up to about, I think, 330 horsepower with that 5 litre version in this GT, which I think came in late 80s, 89 was it? And there's a crack here. And another crack down the other side by that tail light. And I do find this era Porsche, the interiors don't fare so well. This doesn't look too bad. I mean, considering the mileage, 185,000 miles is a lot for any car. Obviously quite a lot of wear there and quite a lot of marking on that passenger seat. So yeah, I guess an entry-level car for someone who wants a cheap Porsche. I can't see anyone doing any significant work to restoring this. It's just probably not worth it and would cost too much. And it's next to another Porsche, and I'm going to say from the 80s. The other one's 91, but this is 87, I believe. Porsche 944 turbo, 2.5 litre, 4-cylinder turbo. I think these were at 220 horsepower. Guided at 14 to 16,000 pounds. Again, another high mileage car, 150 odd thousand miles. Sounds quite expensive to me. obvious rust coming there. Little bits of crazing on the back, you know, some rusty parts evident. I don't think anything too bad, but you know, there's obviously some issues that you can see inside and the trim peeling away there. I do like this colour trim on these though. Looks pretty good in here though. I mean, you know, it's done a lot of miles, and you consider that, I mean, actually that looks pretty good considering how some of this era Porsche, in my experience, tend to wear the 944s and 928s. Yeah, I still struggle to see it making quite the guide price though. A more modern Porsche, a 911, 2007, so this is a 997 era car. It's a Carrera 2S, so the S with the 3.8 litre flat six. This has got a factory aero kit, so I think a slightly lower stance and aero at the back. I think these could still suffer from bore score. This era 997. It's a lovely looking car though, in excellent condition. Looks like it's been extremely well cared for. Apparently dry stored for quite a number of years and with very little use in that time, sparing use, let's say. 6-speed manual. Yeah, looks really, really good condition, that. And it's a no reserve car, amazingly. 55,000 miles, so fairly modest mileage as well. And similar looking, obviously 996 era 911. 1999, this one, it's a Carrera 4, 25,000 miles. I mean, that is incredibly low. Looks in excellent condition. It's got the GT3 aero at the back. 6-speed manual. Quite unusual colour inside, not to my taste, but it looks in very, very good condition, as you'd expect from such a low mileage car. And this is the 3.4 flat six. Yeah, very good looking car, rare opportunity to buy such a low mileage one, and that's guided at 24 to 26,000 pounds. A lovely little Mark I Escort twin cam here. The Lotus twin cam engine, I think about 145 horsepower, and these cars weighed so little back then, it's really pretty pokey. Looking in generally very good condition, it's certainly not perfect. Looks like potentially some work being done on that sill, maybe. And some rust coming along on this back arch for sure. But a legendary car, homologation special. That chrome work isn't perfect. Little bits of rust coming through. Some marks down, car park marks down there. And this is full rally spec inside, as you can see. TR6 here in blue, 1973. And no reserve.
On these provisionals, as say,
looks like a decent car to me on face value. I've only had a very quick look at this one. For a no reserve car, certainly. Paintwork looks really good. Can't see much evidence of rust. And the interior looks to have held up pretty well as well. 2.5 litre straight six. Could be a very cheap TR6 potentially at this auction. Could do with a bit of polish on the paintwork, but really quite an impressive little car for a no reserve one.
For it. You leave that one there and again. Bid online if you want, join in. Don't be shy, don't wait for me.
A nice looking Mark II Jaguar here, 3.8, so top of the range. This looks in pretty good condition. It's a manual gearbox, desirable in many people's eyes. Chrome work looks excellent. It's a beautiful colour. I can't see any rust down here, but there is some damage here on this door and some scrapes. It's really not great to be viewing in this wet conditions. And guided at just over 15 to 18,000 pounds, I think it is. Some damage back here, all along here, fairly significant. So I think it might struggle to get that. And also because there's clearly some problem with the window not going up. This is all taped up here. Inside, however, that looks really pretty good. There is some damage there. But a pretty good looking car in there. The rear seats are in excellent condition as well. An X180 ESPRIT turbo here, 2.2 litre turbocharged, 4-cylinder, 220 horsepower, I believe. 45,000 miles from a so-called enthusiast owner. It's got a very good history file apparently, and it's no reserve. You don't see an ESPRIT turbo reserve very often. Paintwork doesn't look to be totally matched, top and bottom of the door. And there's quite a lot of damage around here, down the side of here, and oh yeah, on this. I think this might look even worse if it wasn't so wet, but there's some significant damage there. So I can see why this is no reserve. And that bumper as well. Unfortunately, a bit of a tatty car, more damage along this rear arch. And you can see here as well, bit of damage there. Interior looks pretty good though, certainly compared with the outside, which I'm afraid is a little bit wanting in quality. XJS Celebration here, so the 4 litre. It is an auto box, 65,000 miles on the clock, so fairly low, and guided at 8,000 to 10,000 pounds. Looks in fairly good condition. It is quite hard to view these properly when they're wet. Yeah, looks pretty good. I can't see any of the usual rust around the sills and arches. Paintwork looks good. There's some minor scuffs there, but this looks to be a fairly decent one. Some wear inside, but actually very good. The only real thing to point out is just this wear on the driver's seat bolster. So yeah, I expect that might make 8-ish. Another Jaguar Mark II, another 3.8, another manual. And this is guided at about 14, 16 as well. There's some damage at the front here, look, on that bumper there. Looks fairly decent down here. This is Old English white, do they call this? Yeah, some rust coming through on this sill, fairly minor at the moment. I can't get in there, but actually that interior looks really beautiful. Very, very good condition, better than the other one that we've just seen. And you know, it's not a bad price for a 3.8 Mark II. I don't see many of these Maserati biturbos. Cool looking car. It's a Spider. What's this E-Reg? Is that 1986? It's 1987, sorry, just had to look at that. Got my years wrong. Yeah, Spider V6 biturbo. This one has been in storage for 10 years, so will require quite a lot of recommissioning apparently. Interesting car though, one you don't see many of. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen one of these actually being driven on the road. Perhaps that's partly my age. 38,000 miles and no reserve. Next to an SL 600. Interesting. I would sometimes be tempted. This is the M275 twin turbo V12 engine. These put out 500 horsepower. They had the 5-speed 5G-tronic Mercedes gearbox. I had a similar era S600, so same engine, very similar in many ways, and a bit of a nightmare car, if I'm honest with you. So many things, particularly electrics, go wrong with these cars, and they cost a bloody fortune to repair. So yeah, once bitten, twice shy. I'm not sure if that's a issue with that window there. This is guided 12 to 14,000 pounds. They're a very, very high risk car in the sense that they cost so much to maintain. So I think it may struggle to get that, if I'm honest. It looks pretty good though, particularly the interior. Very interesting coloured TVR CERBERA here. This has been for sale for ages on Auto Trader. I've seen it gold wrapped, originally blue-green. It's in fairly average condition. I just can't see who's going to buy this with this wrap. The owner has owned it for years. It's a Speed 6, the notoriously brittle engine, let's call it. This has had 2 engine rebuilds, quite a lot of work done to it, but yeah, it's pretty tatty. I mean, even on this wrap here. And, you know, it hasn't been wrapped on the inside of doors, etc. Open the door under the mirror there on TVR, nice and weird, like we expect from TVR. This rubber along here is not in good condition, very tatty here. I mean, this was on Auto Trader for I think 22 grand, which just seems absurd to me. As you can see, the inside of the door is not wrapped. That's its original colour. And generally a bit tatty in here. You can see the leather split around the gear knob, etc. So an extremely high risk car. I don't know, I mean, what's it worth? Also, pretty bad wheels here. I noticed it's got a ton of paperwork, as I say, 2 engine rebuilds, but I did notice on a recent invoice from this year, it said that some top-end noise was noticed, so read into that what you will. Next to an Audi RS6, so C5 generation, 4.2 twin-turbo V8, 450-ish horsepower standard, but this is a plus. It doesn't actually say it's a plus on the advert, but it is. 115,000 miles, and they had additional oil coolers, 10 mil lower on the DRC. Wheels look average, some definite curbing there, and some extra horsepower. I can't remember exactly how much. Was it 30 horsepower extra? Extremely rare. The pluses, what, 60, 70 in the UK, something like that. Some significant damage here. And when I saw this advertised, it's advertised I think 12 to 14,000 pounds. I was like, that is way too much for an RS6. I actually sold my C5 RS6 this year for under £9,000, and I thought, what the hell, there's no way this is worth that. But it's because it's a plus and they just haven't put it on the paperwork. Extremely rare combination this, to get this tan leather interior. Yeah, some wear on there, but generally looks pretty good condition. You don't tend to get low mileage ones of these. But apparently the owner has looked after this himself for many years, and so there's very little paperwork with it, which could affect value, I guess. So here's one of the Scoobies I'm actually potentially interested in. It's a Litchfield Type 25, very rare limited edition. I think only 38 of these were made. It's got the EJ25 engine, slightly less reliable than the EJ20, 2.5 litre. This has had a full engine rebuild though. There's some significant damage down here. And this is quite high mileage. Back seats look pretty dirty. 115,000 miles. I was potentially interested in this, but only if it was going to good condition. A very, very sooty tailpipe there, and you've got the Type 25 badging. These should also have a plaque on them. There's some damage here, and a poor attempt at repair and some damage there. Looks like this whole rear has been sprayed, in fact, very badly. It's a shame. This has had a full engine rebuild. and built to about 400 odd horsepower. I mean, the Type 25 anyway, I think ran 360 horsepower, although there are kind of conflicting reports. Goodness, yeah, this is one I won't be getting. I've seen some reviews say they were over 400 horsepower, so I'm slightly confused about that because I thought it was 360. They had better suspension, stiffer suspension. This is very, very dirty. This, I'm not sure it'll come out in camera. Steering wheel, very worn. Yeah, that bolster's quite worn and torn. It's got the variable control of the diff there. 6-speed manual. You can see all the boost paraphernalia, oil temperature, etc. in these aftermarket gauges. Intercooler water spray, variable map. So yeah, this has had tons done. I mean, the original Type 25 was meant to be a superb car, and this has had an improved engine over that. But looking at it, it's just too tatty for me, unfortunately. It could go cheap though. Interesting buy, but potentially a risky one as well. So I love an AMG, but the G63 AMG is surely one of the most ridiculous cars I've ever done. This is a 2018 Edition 1, so M177 4-litre twin turbo. I think these came with about 570-ish horsepower. This has got a ton of Brabus styling on it, as you can see all over the Brabus badging. G700. Now, I can't work out whether this really is a performance upgrade on this or whether it is just the Brabus styling. You can see carbon everywhere on this. It doesn't mention in the description Brabus wheels. I mean, the Brabus stuff is seriously expensive. It doesn't mention, as I say, whether this actually has the performance upgrades to presumably 700 horsepower for that Brabus upgrade or not. So that's a bit ambiguous. A lot of people do just do Brabus styling without the true performance upgrades. That's not uncommon. It does, however, say it has a £15,000 Akrapovic exhaust, which I find just mind-boggling. Crazy, crazy money. Certainly distinctive, not really to my taste, these ever, if I'm honest. I can't get in there. These have got the 9-speed auto, of course, in them, and it's no reserve. Amazing. I mean, these sell for huge money, so you know, potentially a bargain for someone there. And next to a W213 era E63 AMG. I think this is an S, so M177 engine again, 4-litre twin turbo V8, or biturbo, Mercedes, of course. 600 horsepower, a shade over. I think it is the S with the red calipers. Again, the same 9-speed MCT, do they call it, transmission. And this is the S. Lovely, lovely car. I've had a couple of previous era Mercedes W212s, an estate like this in black, and I've currently got a saloon version, 5.5 litre twin turbo in that, guided at 40 to 45,000 pounds on 58,000 miles. So a really good day here. I always enjoy coming up to Hampson. A great setting, great people, great cars. Always good because they have a good variety of cars, but also in particular for me, it's because they have a large number of no reserve cars, which I always find quite attractive. If you're a bargain hunter like me, it gets you excited because you think you might be able to get a bargain. So I think at this auction, for example, 70% were no reserve. I did bid on a few cars. I left the Type 25 Scooby, that was a bit ropey for me. I did bid however, on the Bug-Eye wagon. I think it went for just over 11. I bid, and you know, that's a fair price. It was in very good condition, relatively low miles, but I'm always just on the hunt for a bargain, and it was a bit more than I was prepared to pay. I also bid on both of the XK150 XKRs. The lower mileage one, the grey one, went for just a bit more than I was willing to pay. on looking a bit more, I looked at both of those paperworks, by the way, and they were really well-maintained cars, excellent service histories. The blue one, I did notice going around, something I didn't spot doing the video. There was some minor damage around the boot, parcel shelf, etc., and a bit of loose wiring there. I don't think it was anything major. Probably relatively easy to fix. That one had also had a stage 1 remap, I think was running about 565 horsepower, had the dyno printout in the paperwork. Actually, you know, for me, that's a good thing. I would like to remap those, you can get a lot out of them. So that was good, but again, it was just a little bit higher. Those things put me off, to be honest, than I was willing to pay. So I missed out. I probably don't need another car, but I'm always on the hunt if there's a bargain. So maybe next one. Thanks very much for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.